In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at and doing a tasting review of the newest version of Tau Tequila right here on the Tequila Hombre. Coming up next. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tequila Hombre, where today we're going to be taking a look at and doing a tasting review of the newer version of Tau Tequila. Now, as you all know, Tau Tequila has been a really nice brand out of NOM 1414, which is the Vivancos. And really, nothing's really changed with the main expressions from before, except they got a new look, a new bottle. The new design bottle looks really cool. The new label on it's pretty cool. But everything else has been pretty much the same, although Sergio Cruz has been working on it a little bit to try to help improve the flavor profile and stuff of it. And they also came out with a high-proof Blanco, which we'll be tasting here as well. But we're just going to do a brief tasting of the other expressions because I've already tasted them before, just to see, if they're still in line with what I reviewed before, which I have the old bottles. They're up here on the shelf here. And it was good stuff. But now it's becoming more available. They had some distribution issues before, and so it was really hard to find. Me and a group of my investors for Ferment and Still, we were able to bring some in, originally some Blanco, and we offered it there. But then, the distributor was having issues with getting product to the United States. So it was really hard to find throughout the United States. But they got things ironed out now. They have a new distributor who's doing a good job of bringing it in and making it readily available. So it is available a bunch of stores all over the place, including Ferment and Still. So you can pick it up there. You can pick it up at a lot of places all over the United States. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the production and talk about how this tequila is made. All right, so Tau Tequila is made well by my good friend Sergio Cruz out of NOM 1414, which is Feliciano Vivanco and Associates, a really great distillery. I know Sergio Vivanco, who's basically running the distillery now. Good friend of mine. Sergio is a good friend of mine as well, Sergio Cruz. Everything they do out of that distillery is pretty good. There's a couple things that I haven't liked, and they know that, which is fine. We understand that I don't have to like everything, and so they appreciate that when I give them honest feedback. So we're going to crack open Tau and take a look at it, but first we're going to talk about how this is made. Of course, it's made with all agave that are grown on the estate there at the Vivancos. They are agaveros. The family started as agaveros, so they have lots of agave that they grow, and they do a good job of growing really good quality agave. After they harvest the agave, they then use brick hornos to cook the agave. After the agave finished being cooked, they then extract all the beautiful sugars from the agave fibers using a roller mill. And then after they are done extracting it, they pump the mosto into stainless steel tanks where they ferment playing Mozart music. After fermentation is complete, they then twice distill it using copper pot stills. And then the Blanco is bottled at 40% alcohol by volume. And the high-proof Blanco is bottled at 97 proof. So they don't water it down as much. So we're going to taste that and see what the flavor profile on that one's like. But first, let's start with the regular 40-proof Blanco. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the tasting portion and see what this tequila is all about. All right, so let's take a look at this in the glass. This, of course, we're starting with the 40% Blanco. This will be my first sip of tequila for the day. So, of course, I will have to acclimate my mouth to it when we get to the tasting portion. Let's take a look at it in the glass. So looking at it in the glass, you can see some pearls on the glass. It didn't really coat the glass extremely well, so it looks a little bit on the watery side, but that doesn't mean anything's bad with it. It just means it's not going to be super viscous and oily on the mouthfeel. Looking at the tequila itself, it is crystal clear. Looks beautiful. All right, let's see what we get on the nose on this. Get that beautiful cooked agave note coming through, cinnamon and baking spices. A little hint of citrus, some pepper in there as well, black pepper. A nice minerality to it from the well water that they use. It smells really nice. It smells really nice and effervescent. It really just pops on the nose, which is nice. All right, let's see what we get on the flavor palette. So, of course, I'm going to acclimate my mouth first. Once you get things acclimated and the stinging stops, then we'll jump into the tasting portion. Okay, we're ready to go. Salud. It coats the mouth okay. It's not as viscous as a lot of other ones are. Definitely nice cinnamon and baking spices up front. A little bit of heat to this. It does have a kick to it, some heat. A little bit of an anise bitterness in the middle there, right after the cinnamon and baking spices and cooked agave notes. Some black pepper definitely coming through. Hint of citrus in there. And it finishes with a mixture of like a anise bitterness and cinnamon, sweet cinnamon note on the finish. It's not bad. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with this at all. It's not one of the better Blancos I've had out of 1414. It's okay. It's not something that I would sit and visit with for a long period of time. It's, I think it would make great cocktails. It would be good for margaritas and such, but it's not something that I would come back and say, yeah, I'm going to sip on this and enjoy it for a while. So that's just my honest opinion. It's good. It's nothing great. I'd give it like 3.5 agave for the 80 proof Blanco. Now keep in mind, there could be just this batch. I could try another batch later and say, wow, this one's a lot better. Not all the batches taste the same. But this particular batch, I'm not a fan of. I'd say, yeah, it's probably because it was done in August when it was warmer. And I think it would probably get a better batch coming out when it's cooler out, like in the January, February part of the year versus August. So this being an August batch, I can understand why it tastes and has some of the characteristics it has, because they don't do temperature control in the fermentation. And it's not representing itself as well as it could have had the fermentation been done at a lower temperature. So this particular batch is also August 18th of 2023. This is the high proof. Let's see what we get here on the high proof. All right. So looking at this in the glass, yeah, definitely more viscous. You can see the legs and tears and stuff coming down in the glass. Definitely a richer, more oily. So when they diluted the 40, it just diluted it too much, I think. It's got nice legs and tears on that. So it's kind of a nice oily mouthfeel on the palate. Looking at the tequila itself, crystal clear as well. This is 97 proof. So that's what, 48.5% alcohol by volume. On the nose, super rich cooked agave notes. Love that. Nice cinnamon and baking spices notes. Citrus. Some pepper. A little hint of blood orange in there. It smells really nice. All right, so let's see what we get on the flavor profile. Nice, rich, oily mouthfeel. Beautiful cinnamon and baking spices coming up front. A little hint of pepper in there. A little hint of citrus. Nice cinnamon profile that stays on the tongue a little longer. This one's not as hot as the regular Blanco was. Kind of interesting. But yeah, the high proof is nice, really nice. I don't mind the high proof at all. The high proof is better at the Blancos. Definitely recommend the high proof. This one would be more of a 4 agave. At $86.99 a bottle, though, that's kind of rich, kind of steep. In my opinion, there's other high proofs out there that I prefer more that you can get for less. But if you're somebody that wants to support Tau and likes the brand, $86.99. I've had worse high proofs that were a lot more. So I don't think it's that bad of a price. It's not as, it's a little on the high side for me personally. So it's not something I personally would buy and keep on hand, just because I think the price is kind of high for there's other high proofs out there I would rather buy that are less money. So, all right, so that's the Tau high proof. Let's get into the aged expressions next. All right, so next we have the Tau Repo. So the Repo is aged in American white oak whiskey barrels, former Jack Daniels barrels, for 4 to 6 months. So it's basically the Blanco that's been placed in a barrel for 4 to 6 months. So keep in mind, this is going to be a different Blanco than what we had there because this one was made earlier. But this batch is, let me start doing this, telling you guys the batch number so you can know. If you can find the same batch, then go for it. This batch number is Tau Rep 2368. This was bottled on 8/21/23 at 8:01 in the morning. So if you want to know, you can look for the notes. They're listed on the bottle right here. So this is 8/21/23. So this is February of last year. So 4 to 6 months in former Jack Daniels whiskey, American white oak whiskey barrels. On the nose, you get that beautiful cinnamon and baking spices coming up front, which, of course, you know, Sergio Cruz is really good at bringing those out. You get a hint of apricot, some cherry notes mixed in, vanilla, caramel. It's got a really nice nose to the Repo. They did a really good job of bringing a little barrel presence in and mixing it with the agave notes. Smells really good. All right, so let's see what we get on the flavor profile. Salute. Coats the mouth really nicely. I didn't show you the viscousness of it. Let's take a look at it in the glass. Look, I can tell it's going to be represented nicely in the glass because look at the legs and tears on that, and the oily and viscousness that I got on the mouth feel on it is really nice. Beautiful cinnamon and baking spices up front, hints of vanilla and caramel coming through, some nice apricot / cherry notes, ripe fruit in there, even a little bit of citrus coming through as well. Nice little hint of pepper in there as well. This is really nice. The Repo is really enjoyable. So far, I think it's been my favorite of the ones we've tasted so far. Has a really neat ripe fruit note that's coming through on it. I think it's probably from the Jack Daniels being mixed in with it. But it's not, there's no heat to it like the Blancos. They had a lot of heat to it. This is more easier sipping, so the wood definitely calmed it down. Really easy to sip. I can enjoy this with a good stogies. I give this a solid 4 agave for the Repo. Very enjoyable, and definitely one that I could enjoy and will continue to sip on. All right, so let's get on to the Anejo and see what we get coming up next. All right, so let's pop open the Anejo. Now, the Anejo is also aged in American white oak whiskey barrels for 14 to 18 months. So just over a year to a year and a half. All right, so let's see what this looks like in the glass. There we go. All right, looking at it in the glass, it coats the glass beautifully. Got legs and tears coming down from it. Looks amazing. Look, kind of a deep amber color to it. Crystal clear. On the nose, you get beautiful cinnamon and baking spices and almost like a bourbon note right after it. Definitely has a bourbon whiskey kind of nose. A hint of cinnamon, some vanilla and caramel coming through, and then some ripe fruit, and then it definitely has like a American oak bourbon-esque kind of nose to it. I was a bourbon drinker. I know bourbon, so definitely has a bourbon kind of nose to it. Let's see what we get on the flavor profile. Salute. Really silky smooth on the mouthfeel. Little hint of cinnamon and baking spices up front. This one's really easy to drink. Interesting sweet fruit, almost like pear and plum coming through on the front of it. Little hint of vanilla and caramel coming after that. Really easy to drink. Really easy to drink. This one goes down real easy. Definitely a beautiful flavor profile to this one. This batch, just so we know the batch number on it. Give me the batch numbers on the other ones. This one is 2369 from 8/18/23. So 2369. This Anejo is really nice. Not a lot of heat to it at all. Very easy to drink. Cinnamon and baking spices up front, and then it has a bourbon-esque kind of flavor to it. So this would be good for anybody that likes bourbons. It's going to have that heavier wood presence to it. Vanilla and caramel coming through. The agave isn't as present as I'd like it to be in this. This one drinks really much like a bourbon does. So I would rate this one, I'd give this one like 3.7 because it's just way too much on the bourbon side of things. Not enough agave coming through on the front, but it's a really easy drinker, you guys. I would definitely could enjoy this with a stogie or good stogie and as a sipper. But I would really like to see more agave present, less of the wood kind of taking over on it. So I give it like a 3.7 agave. Well, there you go. There's my review of Tau Tequila. It's good. The brand's always been solid. Maybe these particular batches weren't the best representation. I've had better from them before. So, I'd say give them a try. If you want. There's nothing wrong with the way it's made and stuff. Just these particular ones don't really fit my flavor profile and something that I would keep on the shelf and want to recommend to everybody wholeheartedly on a consistent basis. I may revisit some different batches coming up in the future, but some of the feedback I would give to them would be, I think was because this was fermented in the warmer months. It got a little too warm for the yeast that they use, which left some characteristics in the flavor profile that I think weren't as appealing as some of the previous stuff that I've tried was. So that's pretty much sums it up. There's an honest review, unbiased review. So if you like the information I shared in this video, make sure you click the thumbs up and give me a like. If you're new to the channel, bienvenido, welcome. And if you're looking for somebody that's going to give you the honest, unbiased opinions on tequila and agave spirits, you've come to the right place. Make sure you click that subscribe button right there and the notification bell next to it, so you get notified every time I post a review video like this or an informational video that can help you and give you the power as a consumer. So when you go in to a liquor store looking for a good bottle of tequila or agave spirits, you know what to look for and you know where to find it. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. So hey, if you want to pick up some Tau, it's not bad. It's good. It's just this particular batch didn't really suit my flavor profile, which happens. And until next time, salute. Bye, guys.